Hi, welcome to Bright Hope Creations. I'm Kara and today we're making many thank you notes with one pad of paper, and this is that pad. It's called Over the Hedge, designed by Melissa Lowry, and it is from Craft Consortium. And here it is. So there's two sides to each of them, and they're just beautiful. Beautiful colors and designs. I know that they have other products that go with this, coordinate with this as well, but I just picked up the pad of paper, the 6x6 pad, and they also have different collections. So this Over the Hedge is just one. I went through my card stock, and this is all from Paper Tray ink, and I looked for colors to coordinate. So I have Summer Sunrise, Terracotta Tile, Melonberry, Sweet Blush, Spring Moss, Dark Chocolate, Pine Feathers, Enchanted Evening, Smoky Shadows, and Berry Sorbet. So all a little different, but they all kind of go well. Some of these papers seem more fall-like and others spring-like, so it's a nice variety. Now I picked up this Creative Expressions Papercuts Toadstool Mouse Edger, designed by Kathy Shuttleworth, and these are half sheets of paper, and I'm trying to figure out how to use them so that I can get 3 out of a half sheet. These edgers work great on folds, but I'm just going to use it in a solid way on my card, and so I cut it out first out of some white paper to use as a guide. Just slip it right over, hold it down with some post-it note tape, and I'll put it through my Big Shot cutter, and it cuts out beautifully. I cut 3 out of each of those half sheets. I doubled up most of the die cuts, so there's one color behind another. Kind of gives it a little bit more dimension and helps it to show up on the pattern paper a little bit better. I'm just poking out all the little bits, and then here's how I decided to coordinate them together. So here it would be without, and here's with another die cut behind it. And then I cut out this wavy banner from Fawn. It's from the Fancy Wavy Banners. And so you can see how I just kind of went through and decided which pieces to go with what. Now I'm using that white one as well. They're not all going to be exactly like you see them here. I kind of mix and match a little differently here and there. I use one pattern twice, and it's this one here with the coral colored flowers. The other side, just, I don't know, it looks like that, and it's fine too, but I don't know, I like that coral flower one. This is the one that I do not double up, but the rest of them are doubled, and just going through and seeing if I like them, which patterns go with which colors. There's my Packer one there. And then here's one that I started ink blending, and I'll show more of that, but I think it helps to kind of blend the stark plain cardstock with the pattern paper. And I'm deciding here how I want to put that banner on the card, where to connect it. And I'm going to use wavy sayings from Fawn. Now this is the happy waving sayings, and there's these cards could be used for so many things: sending hugs, miss you much, thinking of you. But I needed a lot of thank you notes, and so I'm using thanks so much on all of them. I want to make sure that I positioned that banner so that you could read the whole sentiment, and so just kind of playing around with the position of that. Now stamping them could not be easier. I cut out that fancy wavy banner, and it's fancy because it has a border around it. But I just take a couple of pieces of washi tape on the back to keep that frame inside, for one thing, but also that washi tape will hold down any banner I put in there, so I can put in any color. But first I'm going to put that white one back, and I'm going to stamp up or ink up my stamp to make sure that I have it where I want, because it's going on all of these, and there are 16 of these cards, so I'm just gonna test it first. So just got some Memento Tuxedo black ink and make sure that I have it where I like it, and I do. So I'm using Lawn Fawn clear ink on some of them because I'm going to heat emboss. This is Lawn Fawn white embossing powder, but I use different powders, and the coffee filter is great because it doesn't hold on to those little bits, and it all slips back into the jar. I don't know what it is about coffee filters, but they just they don't stick. So that embossing powder sticks on everything else, but not coffee filters. Who knew? Well, this is then Stampendous Pearlescence Jade, and it's a really pretty one. I have some Zing embossing powders and some from Recollections, and I also used just some ink on some of them, so a real variety in the thank you sentiments. I've heated this one up and I'm trying to show the pearlescent luster to it, and that will go on my Green Bay Packer one. All right, so here they are. All of my sentiments are ready to go. So it's time to start ink blending some of these die cuts. So as you see that yellow flower on the background paper, there's a little brown in it, and so I'm using that brown to kind of warm up this die cut. I use Distress ink and a blender brush for them all, and I'm brushing it kind of from left to right to give it a little bit of shading, and just getting into those little mushrooms there. And so want to kind of give the banner a little bit too, just so it doesn't look stark next to the shaded die cut. So that last one used gathered twigs, and this one I'm going to use a combination. So first I'm starting with faded jeans, and you can see I put on super speed here. I'm also going to come in with a green color as well. I'm going to give it some more to that spring moss cardstock color. So I want to test them out first. So I'm looking at how things go, and it looks fine. But of course I want to just play around with it because that's the fun of it. So I'm taking bundled sage and I'm seeing how that works. Now that looks like the deeper color on those green leaves, so I'm adding that as well. I'm going to blend that faded jeans back in with the bundled sage so that it has a nice gradual change in color. One of my favorite ones ended up being this white one, and so I'm testing out on the back which color I want to try, and this is fossilized amber, but I went with the scattered straw, and it's still bright. Now there is a mustard seed, but that's brighter still. So I'm starting with scattered straw, and I'll add in some antique linen to tone that down, and then finish up with some gathered twigs, and that kind of gave me that, I don't know if you see that mustardy color on the pattern paper. I think that works well with that. All right, well, time to assemble these cards. And so I'm just taping the pattern paper down to that white 4¼ by 5½ inch note card, and taking my Lawn Fawn glue tube and just putting dots of glue everywhere on the top layer, and then I will offset that onto the bottom layer, and I'm making sure that my top die cut is up and to the left so that I have both of them showing a little bit. I'm cutting off that extra bottom edge with my scissors, but for a lot of them I just glued it down to the card base and then took the whole card base over to my paper trimmer and just shimmed them off that way. All right, want to put that banner on, and I'm only going to intertwine it with that top layer of the die cut. So just want to make sure that you can read the whole thing, and I'm slipping it in by his ear. Now, because I had that glued on, I wanted to make sure that I could get it in there. And once I have it in place, now I can put dots of glue on the back of this die cut, and then I'll just glue the whole thing on the card all at once. So kind of a simple design, but nice for a thank you note, nice for a lot of different things, I guess. But I just thought this patterned paper was so charming, and I love this little die to go with it. I thought that it really matched up well. Well, here they all are, and I'll kind of pull them out a little at a time so that you can see them. But there's 16 here, and I have a lot of paper left, so I can make at least 16 more if I wanted to, but it's nice to hoard those things too. So, like I said, this was probably one of my favorite ones. Then probably these two that I'm pulling out. And here's a couple more that I really, really like. One looks more fall, I think, and these both are kind of fallish. And I thought I'd like the dark green better, but these two are not my favorite. But not everyone can be a favorite, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have favorites. Like our children. No, not our children. I'm kidding. All right. So, what's your favorite? Which ones did you like the most, or combinations that you think you would put together? This one I ink blended a little on the side on the pattern paper too, the red one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!